City. Something noble novel study. Ch2. Our house is a tiny bungalow. It's on a side street just off one of the busiest avenues in the city. The front yard is a postage stamp. The porch roof is about as big as a child's umbrella, and about as good at keeping you dry when you're fumbling for your keys in the rain. Inside, there is just a living room, a kitchen, 2 bedrooms, and a bathroom. Each room is about the size of a phone booth. But it's mine, damn it. I bought it with my own money, back when things were better. And you better believe I keep it clean. My boys both knew how to make their own beds by the time they were 5 years old. And if you use a plate or a fork, you wash it. Just because we're poor doesn't mean we have to live in filth. You can be poor and clean at the same time. Marco, my other son, is 6 years old. He's taking a nap on the couch. His digital camera is on a cord around his neck. Marco loves to take pictures of anything and everything. My dream for him is that someday he'll work for National Geographic. Ernest, his dad, is waiting for me. Ernest's parents are both from China, which means Marco is half Chinese, a quarter Latino, and a quarter white. The white comes from my dad, the Latino from my mom. Dre's father was black, so Dre is African, European, and Latino. When we're all together, the house looks like the lobby of the United Nations. You let him sleep with this thing on, I say. He'll strangle to death. I take the camera off Marco's neck. That's an old wives' tale, says Ernest. If he started choking, he'd wake up. Besides, I tried to take it off him and he wouldn't let me. Sometimes those old wives were right, I say. Ernest is wearing the kind of clothes I hate on him, a tight muscle shirt and jeans that show off how much he's been going to the gym. He never worked out once during the years we were married. Sometimes I wonder if he's trying to get me back, making me jealous by showing off his new body. It ain't working. I keep him waiting while I go with Dre to his room and help him take off his shoes. I make him lie down to rest. Then I go back out into the living room. What's going on? Ernest asks me. He crosses his arms and waits. Ernest is mostly bald, and when he's concerned, he doesn't just wrinkle his forehead. He wrinkles his whole scalp. I fill him in. He nods. Well, you just let me know if there's anything I can do, baby, he says. Anything at all, I'm there for you. I hate it when he calls me baby. That's another thing he never did when we were married. I would like nothing better than for him to just go away and leave me alone. But we have a son together, and I need his support. And at least Ernest isn't in jail, which is more than I can say for some people's fathers. Ernest has a decent job, and he believes in taking care of his kid. I'll need you to help with Marco, I say. And I hate leaving Dre alone while he's this sick. I know he's not your kid, but if you're here with Marco anyway, it doesn't matter, right? Ernest nods. No problem, he says. Dre is a great kid. We always got along well. I have to go to work now, I say. Can you stay with them until I get back? Sure thing, baby, says Ernest. He starts moving in closer, for what reason I am afraid to ask, so I dodge him and go into the bathroom. It's going to take a lot more than this to make up for what he did. But I don't even want to think about that right now. I need to start getting ready for work. I'm trained as a continuing care assistant. I go into people's homes and do some nursing and some light housekeeping as they recover from illnesses. Or sometimes I just sit with them while they die. I feel like it's important work. So do my clients. The only ones who don't seem to feel that way are the ones who sign my paycheck. When the work is steady, it's not a bad living. It's enough to pay the bills. But it hasn't been steady for a long time. This economy is destroying us. I could drive to work. But I decide to leave my car at home to save gas money. I take the bus a few miles down the road to a senior citizens apartment complex. This is where I'm working right now. I let myself into the apartment and call out. Miss Emily. It's Linda Gonzalez. I don't hear anything, but I wasn't expecting to. I go into the bedroom. Miss Emily is asleep. She's a very old, very tiny woman who is dying of cancer. She doesn't have long left. I stroke her hand lightly. She gives a little moan. It's Linda, Miss Emily, I say again. You need anything? Miss Emily is well cared for. She's one of the lucky ones. A lot of poor people die alone, in what you might call undignified circumstances. That means lying in their own filth in the middle of a public hospital ward. Not Miss Emily. I guess she saved enough money in her working life so she could afford to die in private. Kind of depressing when you look at it that way. Isn't there more to life than that? Working until you get old and die? Sometimes my life feels like that's all it is. It's my kids that make it all worthwhile. Miss Emily wakes up enough to press her morphine drip. The pain must be pretty bad. I read her chart. The visiting nurse hasn't left much in the way of orders. She knows the end is near. Right now we're just keeping her comfortable. I pull back the sheets from her feet and look at her toes. They're starting to curl. That's always a sign that the end is coming. You won't find that in any textbook. It's just a trick I picked up from nurses who have been on the job a long time. We know a lot of things they don't teach you in medical school. There's not much for me to do. The place is pretty clean. There are no dishes in the sink, no meals to be made. So I sit down next to Miss Emily's bed and pick up the book that's sitting on the floor. The title is The Audacity of Hope by Barack Obama. Let's see, I say. Where did we leave off? I read about when Mr. Obama's mother was dying. It's funny to think that the President of the United States of America is just as powerless against cancer as the rest of us. It doesn't matter what the words are. Miss Emily probably doesn't understand me anyway. But I know she can hear the sound of my voice, and she finds it comforting. Suddenly I feel my cell phone go off. I have it set to vibrate. I stop reading and go into the other room. Hello? It's Ernest. You gotta go to the hospital.